Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamernomicon podcast.
This is Mike here,
And Jeff.
And Maurice.
and we're sitting in the middle of the woods right now. I don't know if you could tell. Got a campfire roaring. I've just got the s'mores.
Oh, yeah. S'mores make it all better.
Some chocolate.
chocolate marshmallow and graham crackers, man.
We're going to talk about a couple of games, horror games, scary games, or just really intense games for this particular episode.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we're going to share a bit of our experiences, real life experiences with, maybe the supernatural, some spooky things that happened to us. So I think you might enjoy it.
Hopefully. Let's see where this goes. We're gonna wing it. So, the
It's that shadowy figure over there.
It's like super, calm, late night radio talk.
yeah, well, that's what I'm going for.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm going for. I'm sure it'll get in
No,
more
it's not
intense
going to
as
stay
we
like
go
that
on.
for a long time. It's not going to work for
I
us.
don't think it's possible for me to keep myself that calm.
Man.
I mean, I could.
Especially
Well,
being
you're
out here.
always
I
calm.
do that quite often.
Yeah, exactly. This is you guys don't know this, but the way he is here, that's just the way it always is.
Yeah, man.
There's no real
I have
variation.
spikes. I have spikes.
No, you don't.
Like
You spikes when people talk about
like-
Shadow of Colossus.
like that. Like that's a spike for me. Like that.
Yeah,
You can't.
it's-
They can't
yes,
see it, but you
yeah,
can see it.
Exactly.
Spike.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
It's chilly out here, man.
so,
It's chilly out here.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind when we talk about scary games is definitely Resident Evil. I've played every Resident Evil,
Since the dawn of time.
every main Resident Evil, except 2. I didn't play 2 all that much. Like, I've played it, but I've never beaten it. But
I
I've beaten the
beat any
first
of them.
one, and I've beaten the third one, and the fourth one, and so on and on.
The only one I've played and beaten was 6.
Yeah, 6.
All 3 stories, actually, all 4 stories. That'd be 8 a
Yeah.
story too.
Yeah.
That shit, man. That face, when you fighting the giant face on the wall in Ada story. Oh my god, man. That is I swear, man. I know. Mm-mm.
Well, explain the situation because I don't remember that. part.
Okay, so at that point, you're fighting a fake Ada, right? There was a fake
Yeah, I
Ada this
remember
whole
her.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it turns out.
Spoilers.
Yeah, the game's old, but if you are willing that you're fighting, there was a fake Ada, which is fun because you have to realize throughout everybody else's stories, are you seeing the real Ada or are you seeing the fake Ada? Ooh, figure that out. So at this point in Ada's story, which you unlock at the end of the game, it's toward the end of her storyline actually too. I think it's like either the mission before the last or 2 missions before the last, and you're fighting the fake Ada as a face. I think her name's Carla or something like that. And
It's Ada backwards.
huh? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So it might be Ada backwards, or it might just be some weird
No,
anagram.
it's a joke because Ada backwards is Ada.
I know.
Okay. Oh,
was
I didn't
just
think
going,
you get
yeah,
it.
no,
Oh,
I got.
sorry.
It's only 3 letters.
Sorry, I didn't. I thought it was weird that you didn't get that, but I got it.
Yeah, no,
Apparently
no.
I'm wrong.
It must be this outdoor air, you know.
Yeah. So the face.
Yeah,
Fighting the
so
giant face.
there's so like you first, I think you fight her and then like she melts into this liquid goo, and then like you're like, okay, it's liquid goo, and then throughout, because you're on a ship, like a boat, and like a submarine, and you go out and you're walking down the corridors, you're about to leave, and then all the walls are covered in stuff, and like she's talking to you, and you're like, what the hell? And on the wall is covered in this goo, and her face is the wall, and it's just creepy as hell. Like she's just yelling like, hey, they're not getting away, and shit. You're like, what the fuck is? And the only way to beat her is to you gotta shoot like these canisters of like liquid nitrogen or something that freeze her or whatever, and like it's just but for the most part you're running away from like the whole man, and it's just
Right.
It's creepy as hell, man. Like if you're like walking down the hallway and the wall is a giant face, it's just it's gross, and like it's not just a face where it's like the eyes and like the mouth or whatever. Like no, it's a face coming out of the if you remember I can't remember the name of the movie, but like the face is coming out of the wall and it's moving through the
Yeah.
Haunted
That was
House.
Terminator.
The Haunted House movie.
Yeah, the
when they're
one
in
with
the mansion and everything.
yeah,
Oh,
the,
yeah,
I remember
it's
that.
it's the one with Tay
It's
Diggs
like a
and
statue or whatever. It was
yeah, it's just oh my god, man. So that was scary. I did not like that mission. Going back to Probably look that up on YouTube again.
Yeah,
Later.
I kinda wanna
I'm
play
gonna
it.
show you what it
I
looks
don't, I
like.
don't think I played that.
Once we get back to the house, I'll yeah, I'm definitely want to show you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the experiences.
Yeah, so the first Resident Evil, honestly, looking back, I don't remember being all that scared about it. It was mostly hard. Like, I didn't get all the puzzles when I was a little kid, and I was just kind of frustrated about it. So I didn't beat it into my adulthood, you know, and then past a certain point, like, once you get out of the mansion and you get into the underground facility, it's just not so scary anymore. The third one is definitely my favorite. That is
Nemesis.
my favorite Resident Evil game, period. Because the city setting is just so creepy. I mean, it's just apocalyptic, you know? Like, and there's all these weird, crazy things, like the giant worm. That giant worm is iconic for me. Like, I guess the snake, the giant snake from the first one is probably the same, like, iconic thing. But the giant worm from the third one, like, really gets me. Like, but then having Nemesis chase you the entire game
That
is
was an
like
impactful thing,
is
yeah.
like horrifying, you know. And I will never forget the first time I decided to run from him. Like, because I normally, as a kid, I'd play the games on the easiest difficulty because I just wanted to play the story. And so one time I decided to play the game on a hard difficulty and see what it was like to, you know, to challenge myself or whatever. And keep in mind, by this point, I've already played this game like 3-4 times over the course of a couple of years, probably. So like, I thought I understood the game pretty well. And I'm on hard mode, and I'm like, I gotta make different decisions that I wouldn't normally make. I don't have any ammo, I don't have any health. You know, Nemesis comes out, and I played the game so much I know he's gonna show up. You know, so I'm like, okay, I just gotta get past him. So I'm like, I'm just gonna run. You know, so I run past him. I go through the door. The door open, close, animation plays, and I'm like, I'm safe. And then he breaks down the door, like, and just keeps chasing. And I was like, what? Like,
Because at this point,
how would you ever?
prior
like,
to this point, it had been like a loading screen. Like,
yeah,
it
and
was
all
a
the
different
doors are
room.
loading screens, and nothing transfers between loading screens.
Yeah.
So,
you were taught that
but
for 3
he
games.
does.
For 3
Yeah,
games,
yes.
you were taught that.
And
he
including in
does,
this game.
Like,
Yeah.
Before this point.
it is terrifying. Like,
And you have no
it's
ammo,
not
you
just
can't fight
one.
back.
He'll chase you through several doors. Like eventually he will give up if you get far enough away. But that scared the hell out of me. Like, the first time, I was literally running for my life. Like, that is a great moment.
I
in
think
video games.
it's Fatal Frame. I want to say they have the same thing in there where if you're playing it, they have like a shrine, I guess you go to each time where you want to save it, or like a small room. And that's known as your safe area. So throughout the game, you're constantly saving there over and over and over again. And then, like, I guess a couple hours in or something, you go there to save one more time, and then like something weird happens, and then one of the ghosts pops up in front of you like a jump scare. Dude, I've seen it. It can be terrifying.
No, you want to talk about so you want to talk about jump scares, right? That's where fear comes in. Like, fear takes the cake as far as creating scary situations.
The first fear?
Yeah,
Situations.
Impossible. Yeah. Yeah. I specifically the second. Well, the first fear and the second fear.
Pass the bag of marshmallows, though.
They
Thanks.
excel at different things, right? So the first fear made me feel like I was insane, like playing the main character, because there's a point like towards the end of the game where things start getting really, you know, crazy, and there's you go through like hallways, and you walk in the door, and you're in this little hallway. It's just the door they came through and some steps, and then the door up there. And you take a step forward, and then the hallway extends and stretches into this really long hallway.
Yeah.
And then you run all the way up the hallway, and the door's locked. So you turn around, and the door is right behind, and the door you came through is right behind you. Like, and you're like, what is going on? You know? And then you go through that door and you're in a room and there's like fire all around you. The room is just black and empty and everything is fire, and these ghost demons are coming out of the fire and you're shooting them, and they're hurting you. Like, they're actually doing damage to you, so you have to defend yourself, otherwise they'll kill you. And you're shooting, and then you kill the last one, and then you just blip, and you're in a regular room and there's bullet holes all in the wall, and the other characters are like, what are you doing? Like, what are you shooting at? Like, and I'm like, was I hallucinating that whole thing? Like, oh my god, like it's crazy. And then the second one, the second fear isn't quite as scary the entire time. It's only scary in like certain parts, mostly the beginning of the game, kind of like the demo area of the game.
Yeah.
That is super scary, like where you're in the school and like all the lockers are like flying open and stuff like that. Like it is terrifying, and there's a point in the game which had like really great misdirection, like because the little girl is like following you around all the time, and her AI programming to just be in the right place to scare the crap out of you is amazing. Like, there are times where I'm like looking at something and I'm looking at what's happening in the distance, and I never know she's just right there in the corner the whole time. And I'm looking at what's going on through the glass or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, just go, ah! Like what are you doing there? Like, and so there's like a part where I'm walking down the hallway, and it's playing the scary music, and I'm like, oh man, so I'm kind of going slow, I don't know what's happening, and then you go you go past something, and then like something explodes behind you. It's like, and it hisses, it's like boom, you know, like steam or whatever, and I'm like, I turn around super slow, and it's just steam, you know. It's just, and I'm just like, and you're like, oh cool, whew. And then you turn around and she's right in front of you, and I'm like, it is the scariest thing. Like,
was it the
oh man,
was it the first one that had the enemies that turned invisible? And
yes.
Crawled on walls.
Yes. I think they were in the second one too. Yeah.
No, I wasn't cool with that.
Yeah, all you can see is like
cool
they would have some electricity occasionally from the like invisible thing or whatever, and then just be gone, and then they'd crawl around and crawl up walls, and then just be there. Yeah.
There was an enemy like that in Evil Within. I forgot what section it was, but you go down like this hallway or whatever. You end up in a room. I think it was like a escort kind of mission thing or something. I can't remember 100%.
I hate those.
But you go into this room, and all of a sudden I start getting hit, and I was like, what's hitting me? I don't know what's going on. This isn't cool. Like, and I'm looking around the room like there's nothing at all. And then I just start shooting around the room, and I end up shooting something. I was like, what is happening? I can't like. It wasn't like the electricity kind of thing in Fear. It was just nothing. It was just nothing. It was freaky.
Oh man, Resident Evil 6 with those the creatures that you couldn't kill.
They were in. Are you talking about the regenerators, right?
Yes.
They started in 4.
Yeah, well,
they were also in 6 because 6 was 6 had elements of all the other ones in it.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. They
played
started
in
in
6.
4. I actually give me like a second of silence here because I want to find the sound effect and put it in. So they sounded like this. It's like the first time you go there in Resident Evil 4, because Resident Evil 4 isn't all that scary to me. It's tense sometimes, like with the chainsaw people chasing you, but like they're not really scary, especially when you figure out you just shoot them in the head and then
they're loud as hell.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know.
But those things, the regenerators, they just breathe like that.
Yeah.
You know, and you can hear it well before you see them. And you have no way of knowing how close they are to you.
Kill them.
And then they just soak up bullets. Like in Resident Evil 4, you have to get you can kill them without the thing, but you get an infrared attachment to put on your sniper rifle so that you can see the parasites inside of them, and you have to shoot the parasites inside of them to actually kill them. Other than that, you can shoot them anywhere and they'll just regenerate. Like regenerate.
In Resident Evil 6. There was no such thing. You had to, and then a lot of in Leon and Helena's story, like you were in a city and there were a lot of exits to the city that you had to somehow figure out how to like break through to make it to the next area, and like you could you kill the regenerator kind of, but when you did, you didn't kill him. He just broke into arms that would like crawl around the stage,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
would grab you and trip you, and you'd be
Yeah.
like shit for another one to actually come out to grab, and you're like, oh my god, like this is crazy. I don't know what to get. You got like you're just trying to get to certain spots so that you can just end this mission,
Yeah.
but you can't. Like some doors are locked. And like, well, how do I get over there? And it's like, oh my god, man, it's so scary.
One of the best parts about not Final Fantasy. One of the best parts about Resident Evil 6. One of the best moments for me is when we were playing Sherry and Wesker's son or whatever the guy's name is, because that was since those games are heavily on partner and 2-player action. You had your point of the story where you were doing something separately from me, and I had my point of the story where I was doing separate, and that's meaningful, like, because we're so used to playing this game together and being together and doing all this stuff together, but for that part of the story, we were separated. So, you know, he's doing his own thing and I'm doing my own thing. I think I was trying to escape the prison cell. And so you're fighting these things on the ground, and I'm trying to crawl through the vents. You know?
Yeah.
And the camera's really tight in, it's really close. All I can see is over my character's shoulder, and I'm crawling through these vents, and you're fighting things in another part of the map, and I can hear your gunshots and all that stuff. And we were together, we were sitting right next to each other at this time. We were in my room, we were playing. And as I'm crawling, I turn this corner, and one of the regenerators is right there, and it starts coming at me, and I'm like, I screamed. I really screamed. I do not know if you remember that. I really screamed.
I remember.
And I know that you were sleeping, that Jeff was sleeping at the time. Like, and I screamed so loud. Like, I was really, really scared, and you start backing up, like, but you can only crawl because you're in a vent, and then vent, you back up, and then the vent falls out, and then we were reunited, and I was just like, run.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that. You were like, run, don't look back, just keep going. I'm like, what? You were able to beat your game?
Yeah, because you had no idea what I saw.
Yeah, I
because
wasn't
you were
looking at
busy
your
trying to
screen,
do
I was
your own
trying to-
thing, and I was like, just we gotta go.
That's a cool moment.
Like, that was the best. You and I, we really need to play that. Like, I tried to
Yeah.
start you off on Chris's story because I wanted to get the lame one out of the way.
Well, first,
You
okay,
know?
hold on.
No, Chris's story gets good, but only
It's
at
sad,
the end.
yeah.
You know,
Chris's
and I
story's-
wanted to get the worst one out of the way so that we could save the best for last.
Yeah.
But it ended up being really boring.
Yeah.
We need to
what?
play just the good one because
Okay.
that was so good. That whole Resident Evil 6.
Which one? Just the good one?
Leon's story.
Leon.
Yeah,
Well,
no, Leon's story
Sherry
is
and
the best one.
and Jake's story.
No, Sherry and Jake's story was okay, but
Jake?
it was I don't know.
Something with a J.
Sherry's story was good from like an action perspective,
Yeah.
like and like attention perspective. But
Mostly
if you
because you're
want,
fighting that guy with the arm, like
Right.
that would shoot the like thing and he would grab you and stuff.
yeah, like and I also like that they gave Sherry powers.
Yeah.
Because in the continuity, Sherry was in the second Resident Evil as a child, and she was infected, but she got cured, like sort of, you know. And so that was part of the story of the second one. And so when she came back in the sixth one as an adult, she actually had like regenerative powers as a result of what happened in the second one, and that was really
A
cool.
piece of the plane got lodged in her back and she was bleeding, and then
Yeah, he just pulled it out and she
yeah,
just
he had to
healed.
pull it out.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, that was really cool, and I like that. But so Leon's story in particular in Resident Evil 6 is a really great, just old school zombie experience. You know, like the zombies, they're not in a single zombie isn't inherently dangerous. But they come at you in these waves, like over and over again. And I think they're infinite. I think they just keep spawning no matter how many you kill. And
No,
you're
certain parts of the game.
Yeah, and then there's like tunnels and things, and they'll just keep running out of the darkness, and you just don't have infinite ammo. Like, you might have a decent amount, but you don't have infinite. Eventually, you'll run out of ammo, and so you gotta like you're
you got the
fighting your
combos,
way
yeah.
through these hordes, like trying to like
That
you know
one time
manage
the
your
train
ammo or
comes at
whatever.
you.
And sometimes you shoot them in the head and they don't die.
Yeah, they don't.
You shoot them in the head and like half their head will explode, but it's not enough of their brain to stop them, and so they just keep coming. And it takes the whole Resident Evil thing of like, oh, just shoot them in the head, you know, and it just takes it away from you. Like, these are not Las Plagas or whatever. These are zombies, and they are scary.
Yeah, that's because
And
I think
it's
that
you're
game
in the
was
city,
the
and it's dark, and oh my, it is.
it was the C
beautiful.
virus in Resident Evil 6.
It is so good. Like well, that's the thing. When you're fighting with the other people, it was the C virus, but when you're doing Leon's story, that's just T virus. That's regular, straight up
Oh, yeah.
original
Oh.
zombie. You know.
Yeah.
Like, and it was so good. Like, beautiful. I loved it. I wish the whole game was like that, but it's not.
Yeah. I like Resident Evil. I like the ability to play. And then it was that weird shark monster we had to fight when we were in the bottom of the church or like under the church.
Oh,
and we had
yeah.
to swim down the water, and I landed in the water. Let me tell you, when games that have water levels and the water levels are dark, I can't swim in real life. So when I play a game where it's dark, like I was playing Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, the level where the part of the game where you go to Pinnacle Rock and you have to swim as a Zora down to find the Zora eggs, and there are eels down there. If you don't have a television that has the brightness like all the way up, it gets quite dark. And when I tell you, I get so scared. The abyss is so scary because not only can you not see, you don't know if there's something in there. It's just, I think the scariest parts in like video games, or the scariest parts in video games or just situations in life are the parts where you feel the most powerless. Like, you can't do anything about your situation. Mm-hmm. Like, if a guy breaks into your house and he has a weapon and you don't, that is a scary situation because your life is in danger. There's no way you can fight back. You have no power. Like, in the water where there's darkness and you can't see, or where there's fighting invisible
you
enemies.
You can't even move the way you want to move. You have to swim,
Yes, and it's like you have to worry about, and you can't breathe.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's so much of things that you can normally do that you have no control of anymore.
That's why I don't go swimming. That's why I don't go in the ocean.
Yeah, and then the ocean, it can pull you. The current can pull you further
That's
down.
Horrifying.
The sand.
Yeah, no.
The sand beneath your feet just is gone. Like,
no.
the
one
water.
One of the most terrifying experiences I've ever been through.
It was more like a river or a lake, I don't know, whatever, when I was younger, and I was walking in the water, and I'm just sitting there walking. It's like about like kneecap high or like thighs or whatever. And I'm just walking through, and then out of nowhere, like my foot just slides down, and I'm up to like my chest. And I was like, oh no, this ain't cool. And I just I instantly was like, I'm out here. I'm never going back in.
The mountain that we go to, Catoctin, is there's a place up there where it used to be a what is it called, a quarry.
Yeah.
And they filled the whole thing in. Like, so there's all these warning signs, like, don't go into the river part because it's a drop off. Like, you go out there and you can walk and then it goes straight down, you know? So, like, you don't go out there because if you could just plummet, you know? Like, I mean, it's water, so if you can swim, you're fine. But I can't swim.
Yeah, but even if you could swim, you could hit a rock, hit the side of the rock, and go unconscious, and then be underwater unconscious.
No. Water is terrifying.
Water is terrifying.
I'm
especially
totally
dark,
good with
murky
that.
water.
You're made up of what, 75% of it?
Yeah, no, and I'm scared of myself.
I like it on the inside where I can't see it.
Yeah, exactly. Where I can pretend that it's not. As far as I'm concerned, inside my body is light and magic. That is as far as I'm concerned.
Light and magic.
Anybody else want any more of these marshmallows?
Yeah, let me get one. Thank you.
I'm gonna roll the bag up. Chilly out here.
And it's crazy because like we've been in abandoned buildings. You know, we've been in like burned out buildings and like destroyed buildings and stuff like that. And I got comfortable in there. Like, we went there so many times that it was just normal to me. Like, after a while, like the first time we went there, I was scared, you know, like I stayed with everybody. I was like, I don't know what we're gonna find, you know. Yeah. But like after like the second or third time, I was just wandering around by myself.
I had a limit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then there was this one time that so let me explain this. Jeff has a very light step. One
silent
might
step.
even say silent, you know. There are several times, in fact, almost every day that we interact with each other, he just sort of appears. He doesn't like walk into a room so much as he just pops into existence in a room, you know. I'll open the refrigerator door and then close it and he's right behind the refrigerator door. You know, yeah, like he does that. Like I have seen, you know, when we were playing HVZ, I have seen
Humans versus Zombies, HVZ.
Humans versus Zombies, HVZ. I have seen times where like it's crazy, like because we're normally with HVZ is glorified tag. you know.
Yeah.
And so 90%,
Catch one, catch all,
99% of the
freeze tag.
people, 99% of the people, they're laughing, they're having a good time, we're running around, we're screaming. Not Jeff.
Not Jeff. Mm-mm.
Jeff is just quiet and silent,
Can't
and
even hear his
he always
heartbeat.
wears that trench coat,
The
like
black
whenever
one.
we play. And so I'll walk in a hallway, and it's dark, and the floor is like cracking, and there's stuff. I don't understand how I can't hear him. Like, because
when the
every
floor
time
creaks.
I walk, we're kicking dust and cracking paint and stuff like that. And I look at the end of the hallway, and Jeff is just there. Just there. And Jeff's not the runner. Like, he's not gonna, like, chase me down. So
Jeff's the guy in the horror movie that always
like, that's just there.
Yeah,
Like,
you run.
so
Jeff takes the shortcut somehow
and he's-
through the portal.
So I come and Jeff is just there at the end of the hallway, and you see him, and he sees you, and you're like, nope, I'm going this way. Like, and then you just pray that he finds something else to take his attention. And so one day, I was in the basement of one of the main buildings, and this basement was full of like chairs and like old school supplies and things like that, tables, things like that. And I was feeling a little adventurous, and I was like, all right, I want to go into an area where I've never been before, just because I wanted to see what was in there. There was a bunch of old cool stuff in there. I was like, all right, let me see what's in there. So I'm pushing tables out of the way, like I'm like, you know, I'm trying to be quiet because we're still playing the game, you know, but at the same time I feel safe because I'm in this area where I had to climb over stuff to get to. I'm like, nobody else is gonna come this way. I'm perfectly fine here. I'm like by myself. And, you know, I'm trying to be quiet. I'm trying to, you know, not cut myself on any rusty piece of whatever. And I find this room, and there's like leaves on the floor, and it's like fall. There's like things stuck to the wall, like from the classroom or whatever that used to be there. And I'm just kind of walking around and look, and I hear just I don't even think I hear anything. I think I just looked up. I look up, and Jeff's head is coming through like the window above me, looking straight at me, and like I was genuinely scared. Like, I was genuinely scared. Like, it took me a second to realize that it was you, and I just saw a person, eyes looking at me.
Because I had the mask on.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, you scared the shit out of me, Jeff. Like,
That was the point. And I was there for like a good 15 seconds or so
Right,
before
like-
you noticed I was sitting there. I was just waiting for
that
you to
was
look up.
so scary, yo. Like,
And it wasn't like
sitting there like,
it wasn't like he was like on the
"Ah."
other side of the room too. Like he was like right there near
oh
the window
my
when it happened.
God.
That was a good moment.
No, son, I seen Jeff come out of the shadow. We were in oh my god, it was like 6 of us in a basement. And this was in Raccoon City. This wasn't in a place.
Yeah.
It was an abandoned hospital.
Yeah,
and we
okay,
were underground in a hallway.
Oh
And-
yeah, the stone hallway that
Is that
just
the
gets
one that gets
smaller.
smaller?
Yeah.
I guess so. I can't remember. I just know it was a hallway, and there was lots of rooms on.
Oh, no,
okay,
no,
then
no,
it was
no.
okay.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I remember this now.
yeah.
And because that was McCoy had them the daggone like grenade papers. That
Oh
he took
yeah.
from, little, you know, or whatever. And so like I seen Jeff come out of one of the rooms on the side and tag 4 people in less than 3 seconds. Like, how do you get a quad feed and tag? Like, just he came out of one of the. I guess he waited for the 4 people to move forward. And then came up behind them, and I was part of, like, me and the second person that I was with, I can't remember who, we were, it was a distance between us and the 4 people. And Jeff came out the side and was just like, got the last 2 people, then the first 2 people. Just like, and I was like, yo,
I
how do you...
remember that happening.
And
'cause
I
think
saw
you,
the
you
feed.
tagged me afterwards.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It was bullshit. I was like, there's no way I'm dying. I just saw you kill 4 people. But you see, that's another situation. Jeff was King Zombie.
Yeah.
And in King Zombie and HVZ, at least according to the rules we were playing, because there's multiple different rules, can't be killed. He can only be tagged and, you know, be
Just
basically
stop for
frozen
like,
for
yeah,
like,
3 seconds.
for like
Yeah.
60 seconds, like a minute.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's free to move again. So it was like, I just saw him take 4 people's lives in front of me. And it was just like, those people all died in an instant.
Yeah.
Like, you think of the most anime moment where people are just dying in an instant. Like, you think of Gantz, and that happened in front of me. Like, episode 1 of Gantz, like, everybody died in front of me.
Jeff can he like morphs into shadows.
Yeah, it was just like,
And moves like
I don't
that.
know if you remember the first game we played there. I think it was what was it? The Luigi Mansion, the main building,
Yeah.
and it was on the 2nd floor. and we were in there, and I think what ended up happening is that like people started spreading out a little bit, and I was King Zombie in that game too.
Mhm.
You're always King Zombie.
It was the best. It was the best thing to
You're
do.
a good King Zombie.
So I remember seeing
if you don't want to win the game,
there was like a bathroom,
Mhm.
and I heard you or I heard McCoy or somebody. So I went and I hid behind the door in the bathroom,
Mhm.
so they didn't see me. And then y'all walked through and y'all kept walking down the hallway, and I see you guys at the end of the hallway, and it was you, McCoy, and PG.
Mhm.
And I walk up to you guys, and I walk up behind you and PG. It's like, hey guys, what's up? You guys
Put your hands on the
Oh,
shoulder.
yeah.
hands right on the shoulder. It's like, hey
Yeah.
guys, yeah, this is it. You guys,
guys
zombies
are
now.
gone.
You at
Yeah.
all. Like,
You're gone. Like, before you know it, you're dead. Like,
yeah, he's touched you already.
You've
and
passed
then
into
he
the
tells
afterlife.
you that you're dead.
You
Like,
passed into the afterlife before you know.
yeah, no.
Like, and then you turn around and look, and your bodies are on the floor, and you're like, if my body is there, how am?
Yeah, you just gotta figure it out.
Oh no.
My favorite moment from all of HVZ was that time that you and me went in
Oh, yeah.
against that horde.
That horde of zombies,
That was just a
I was
beautiful
sad,
moment.
man.
Like that was just a beautiful moment
That was
because
sad.
it was literally a horde. Like it was like almost all of them.
We were the last two
Yeah.
survivors.
Yeah, and it's just like 8 people chasing us or whatever. Like I don't remember even like the specifics of how it went down. I just remember. Like holding them back. You know?
I remember.
Like
It's
I was
just
like, it was like you hide in this room, I'll hold them back.
We were in this.
Like-
Okay, so we were in this one. I'd say the room was like fairly sized. It was about double size of like a normal bedroom, and we start seeing the flashlights because it's dark inside the area we were playing in. It's like an abandoned insane asylum, and because that's fun. And so we're playing and it's dark. Yeah, it was fun. And we just see flashlights and we hear voices like, I think they're over here. I think they're. I was like, oh crap. So it's me and Maurice, and we were like, we're prepared to fight. But then we see how many of them there are, and then we're trying to fight a little bit, and we're like trying to swing at them, but they're dodging and stuff. And then like they back us up into this one doorway, and like they're like, yeah, he can't tag us all, whatever. And so they go toward Maurice, and Maurice is like, all right, Mike, you gotta go. And I'm like, what? No, man, we're a team. And you're like, no, I'm just gonna hold him back. I'll try to hold him back. And then like I go and like I'm like, but Maurice, he's like, just go. If I make it out of this, he's like, you gotta survive. You've gotta survive. And I was like, all right. But in that doorway was a stairway to the next level. So
Yeah.
I went up the stairs, and the next thing I see is like Maurice going, get back. And then I see hands just like coming, just encompassing Maurice's body.
took me.
Like, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
But
there
I
was
couldn't
so many
look back.
people.
And they never caught me that game because I found
so many people.
I found that it was like this one washroom, and I hid inside that bathroom in the dark. They started the new game without me because they couldn't find me. I was like, yo, what? Like, and it was wet all over, and it was a room I had never been in before. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Like I was like, and it was like one of those paralysis. I was like, man, if I move, like I don't know, there's nothing in here. What if a serial killer just lives in here?
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know, or a homeless guy or
Yeah.
something. Like I don't like. But eventually, I summoned up the courage to like leave the building, and there was already another game going on.
Yeah.
So.
No.
I like. I'm not cool with like the potential. There was one time where I saw we were leaving, and we were in the top level, like top level of Luigi's Mansion, and we were walking out, and I could have sworn I saw something like peek out the side of the one of like little hallways and go back.
Shit.
So after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not walking around this place by myself. So what I would do is that I would keep my distance from people, but I would go to areas where I heard people, like, or I saw lights or people going into, and I was just kind of follow them without, like, from a really far distance. Because I was not walking around the place by myself.
That was that one time they found like that I don't know what the hell it was because they couldn't see it. They just heard it hissing and growling.
Oh, yeah,
it was
no,
like
I saw that.
Like
Yeah.
a badger raccoon demon.
Yeah, it was a badger raccoon demon.
No, I
So
thought you
it's
said
like-
human.
No,
No, I said
What?
demon.
It's a badger
raccoon demon.
Yeah, no, that thing was
It was just
scary.
like,
and that giant bird that lived in
Yeah,
it
no,
too.
this
Yeah.
is in the same area. Like,
Yeah.
in that same area where I saw, like, whatever it was.
Man, it was crazy, man. So like you played the Evil Dead, remember? And you took that one step in that hallway and
Oh,
Yeah.
No, Evil Dead, the scariest Evil Dead game was, I cannot remember. Evil Dead
it was
Regeneration?
2, wasn't it? Or
No,
something?
because there's,
2 wasn't scary. 2 was just...
yeah, no. there's been a couple Evil Dead games. Like even going back on the like PlayStation 1. Yeah. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the games.
Yeah. The movies weren't scary.
Yeah, no, the movies weren't really scary. The first one was like trying to be, but it was also very campy or whatever. But but the second and third one weren't scary as far as movies are concerned. But like the third one was kind of scary. But the games, there was this one that was really good, and it was the one where Ash starts off in like in the asylum or in the psychiatric ward of the hospital or whatever, and that's the one that's freaky because everything starts laughing at him, and like you're walking around and like the TV and the chairs and all that stuff are and that happened in the movie, but this is a part of the game where you play and like everything is just laughing at him, and you can't trust anything. Like you're walking around and you go through a door and then you try to, and then there's like an exit because your goal is to leave, you know, and so you're trying to look for the exit and there's this big sign that says exit and you're like, oh cool, and you walk out and the door opens and then slams shut in you and starts laughing at you, and you're like, I don't know what's real. Like, you're literally just crazy, and you're walking around trying to figure your way. You have no control. Yeah, and your whole environment is out to get you.
Loss of control is scary.
And lamp shades are laughing at you, and it's weird, man. And that scared me. But as soon as you leave, the rest of the game is not scary at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't it like when you took you tried to take a step down a hallway and then like you went to the end of the hallway?
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. You were like, okay. Like, it was a hallway full of doors, and, like, he's like, all right, well, I'm going to take a step. He takes one step, and immediately he's at the end of the hallway. It's just like,
and it sounds like a fear thing. It sounds like something that happened in Fear. But, no, man, those are some of the...
That's impossible. That's probably saying that again.
No.
That was a great moment, man.
Yeah. That was, we can't explain that. You had to be there.
Yeah.
You had to see it, you know? Yeah. That was before I had recording software, so, you know, couldn't do anything about that. But, yeah, man, so those are just some of our scary experiences.
Any real life experiences that were kind of scary?
Well, I mentioned the one. And then I also, there was a Christmas where I heard whistling, even though I walked around the house beforehand, didn't see, nobody was awake. My nephew was asleep, my parents were asleep. And I went back upstairs and just double checked to make sure my nephew was still asleep. Because it was like around like 6:30 or whatever. And as I walked out of his room, I heard whistling. Not like, you know, no creaks or anything. There wasn't TV on. It's just whistling. And I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. I didn't check to see if my sister was awake. And as I go to knock on the door, like my hand was inches from knocking on the door. She opens it up and looks around. It's like, did you hear that whistling too? So that was one moment where I was like, I definitely heard something.
You never found the source of the whistling?
No. But I did, I want to say like either a few months or a year after my grandmother passed away, I was sitting in my room on the computer and I could just start smelling like her
scent.
It just started taking over that area. But outside of that, that was it.
There was one time when I was in college and I was in my girlfriend's apartment. It was now my wife, of course, but I was in her apartment and I went to the kitchen, I think to like wash my hands or something. So I'm like washing my hands in the kitchen sink, and then the lights just shut off in the kitchen, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't even. So then, and then I hear like laughter, not children's laughter, but kind of like teenage laughter, like coming from the living room, which was right outside the kitchen, and I was like, nobody's in the apartment but me and her. So I'm just like, was that you? And she's like, I can hear her voice coming from the bedroom, like, was what me? And I'm just like, okay, that wasn't her. So somebody cut off the lights, and somebody was laughing. So I walk toward the lights, I hit the switch, and nothing happens. And then I flip the switch again, and then the light comes back on. So even though the light was in the on position, it was off. And then I had to switch it to the off position, remains off, and then back into the on position.
Right.
And when I go into the other room, there's nobody on the couch, of course, and I check the time at this point, you know, and it's like 12:01. And I mean, like, if you're superstitious, then maybe that might mean something to you. But at that point, after all of that stuff, I kind of became superstitious. Like, okay, yeah, some door just opened and some trickster people from the dark beyond just, I don't know, man.
Trickster people.
Yeah, like, they played some tricks on me, man. It was not cool. It was just not cool.
What was the name? What, Gabriel? Gabriel from from Supernatural. Wasn't his name?
Which one?
Oh, the trickster.
Oh yeah. Gabriel. Yeah,
Yeah.
from Supernatural. And then one other time, I was at my mother-in-law's house, and me and my wife were about to go to sleep, and I tell my wife good night, and she doesn't respond just yet. Something else responds saying good night, and it was a woman's voice coming from the end of the bed, and there was nobody there, and she heard it too. So I wasn't crazy. I was like, and we both heard it like somebody said good night. It was the creepy, and I never found out where the voice came from, and it's just, man, it just shivers. Oh man, sends shivers down your spine. Like,
Has it ever happened since?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was like a haunted house or just like if
that's a good one, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Whatever it was, it's gone now.
Yeah, no.
All right.
You say that.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, if something's saying good night, like.
Yeah, but
Okay.
from nowhere though, from like nowhere. That was the creepy.
I'm not saying it's not creepy at all, but I mean, you're not harmed, so.
You're not gonna get
That's a
attacked, so
Yeah.
it's great. Like, I don't know,
That's a
Jeff,
plus.
you weren't there. Yeah, that's a plus.
Way to look on the bright side, Jeff.
It could be like
Hey,
a
man, it could
good
be-
night because I'm about to smother you.
Yeah.
Good night, or like
Sure,
I don't
but
look.
the thing is that you're still here now, so that's not what happened. So
It
could
was
have been.
scary in the moment, Jeff.
Oh no, I'm not denying that.
I didn't know whenever. Oh man, how many years
I
has it been?
wouldn't. I don't know why you slept in the room. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
done that.
I would not
would've
have
left.
gone to sleep.
I would have
Yeah,
left. I would have went for
I
a
would've
walk.
I
walked,
just,
yeah, I would've left too.
there was
Yeah.
no,
No,
oh man, it was nighttime,
Sleep in
and
the
I
car
just,
tonight.
man,
No, I'm
I
not
didn't want to
sleeping in the
move.
car. No.
I didn't want to move. It was
I'd
like one
rather
of
sleep
those
in the car.
paralyzed
It gives
with
me a
fear.
feeling of like I can leave if something crazy happens.
Good point.
Yeah,
What
like,
if
if
something's
I-
in the car with you.
No man, if in order to leave the room, I would have to walk past the point at which the voice came out, and
Oh,
I
yeah,
just,
both walk out.
yeah. So like, hopefully, I won't get caught.
No, so that you feel safe that like there's two people. Like you feel
Yeah,
safer
yeah,
when there's
safety
somebody
in
next
numbers.
to you. Yeah.
I could just push her, and she get caught real quick, and I can get out.
Well, no, that's not what I mean.
No.
Not at all. That's not
The
what I'm
safety
saying.
in numbers, because you can always outrun the person next
Safety,
to
and
you.
you get more confidence when you're with somebody else. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Like you feel safe. Like you feel the scare factor diminishes when you're with somebody else that can experience the same thing you did.
Yeah, I personally I've never had any like experiences that I could say were specifically supernatural, but I get feelings a lot. And there's a theory about that it comes from like what is it, electromagnetic
Yep.
waves that can come off of it and like
Yeah,
affect
yeah.
your mind or whatever. So
EMPs.
yeah, there's or vibrations or something like that.
Well, that's
like,
it's like the magnetic like waves or whatever come
Yeah.
off of like older. It's mostly like older
Houses.
like electronics.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, things like
And
that.
it kind of messes with your head.
Yeah,
and stuff
so
like
that's a pretty good explanation of like how I feel.
that.
It was
Mhm.
when I was with my mom's ex-husband at their house, and my brothers were born at the time, so I was in middle school, and there was this back room in the basement, and the basement was fully furnished, so carpet and everything, and it was all done up and nice and stuff like that. And then there was this back room that they just used to store all their stuff, and every time, and I only went in there like once, and when I went in there, like I just felt like completely different. Like going in there was like a tingling sensation in the top like back of my head, and I just got this overwhelming feeling of like I am not supposed to be here.
You're not
Like,
safe.
Yeah, there
You're
was
not
some.
welcome.
Something is not.
What's-
I'm not supposed to be right here right now.
What
Like
sucks-
I didn't even find what I was looking. I just left. I was like, nope.
I
Couldn't
had,
find
I
it.
had something like that happen to me at my grandmother's house. Like the parents and everybody, all the adults will sit on top in the living room area,
Mhm.
and then downstairs where you hook up the gaming systems or whatever. But to walk down there, you had to go down the steps, which didn't have any railings for whatever reason. No railings, yeah. And then you walk through, and there's a bar, and it's complete darkness, and then there's a light. So you have to go through a void of this darkness. And what makes it really creepy is that you can look to your right, and then there's just a mirror, so you can see what's like everything right next to you, and it's just, it always had that weird feeling. But whenever you walk back, there was a back door that led outside from under the stairs, but you had to walk further into it, but it was always super dark, even during daytime in there. Dude, I hated going up those stairs to get back up, to like go to the kitchen or whatever, because like I just run as fast as I could, because it had the same feeling where it's just like that area just doesn't like
Feel
it just
right.
doesn't sit
My grandmother's
right.
basement was like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was a big basement, so like but they had a lot of clothes hanging from like hangers, which were hanging from like it would be like a couple wires hanging on the ceiling, and like for the most part, the most of the areas were lit, but there were certain parts where the areas were not lit. Like there was a single light bulb here, a single light bulb there.
Right,
And,
created voids of darkness.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so like there were things like in the background where you're just like, I don't even know how big this basement is because I can't see that far into the
Right.
darkness.
Yeah, it could be infinite for all
Yes,
you know.
and the stairs are rickety, and it's just like a lot of old stuff down there, like Raggedy Ann dolls and like
Oh no.
Yes!
And my
See what I'm
grandmother that
saying?
had like the
Yeah.
dolls, but she had like a bunch of old classic like tea and music what do we call it? Like music boxes or whatever.
oh my
Mhm.
god.
Oh,
She
yeah,
had a
music
ton
boxes.
of
Yeah.
those down
Yeah.
there. Oh my.
See, I got lucky. My grandmother doesn't have scary stuff. She has like
And the worst part
linens.
The worst part is that like, I like have a thing for like older pictures, which is kind of creepy.
Oh yeah.
Like, so you can agree with that. So,
Mhm.
as you were to leave,
Well, my grandmother
grandmother's-
has those all over the house, so those aren't scary to me.
Yeah.
But I can see
But,
where
like,
you're going with that.
as I would
In a
be
certain
leaving,
setting, you're like,
yeah. So as I would leave like the living room area, so you're walking out the living room, and you walk into like the next hallway, and in front of you is the bedroom, which I will add that I think when my grandmother's sister passed away, after the whole funeral happened, we were talking about they were talking about what was going on, and while they were talking, I looked into that bedroom, and I could have sworn I saw her sister laying in the bed.
Mhm.
You know, she wasn't there anymore, so
Right.
that was weird. But in that hallway, you walk to the.
That was weird. You don't brush that off, Jeff. That shit was scary.
It was yeah. I never liked walking in that area. But,
I would not get in that bed.
As you as you walk to towards the door, you had to make a right and then make a left down a hallway. And that hallway was super narrow. Like you couldn't walk side by side next to anybody down the hallway. And along both sides are just old pictures. And you're like, it's one thing to have see an old picture from a distance, and it's like kind of one of those weird. They have that weird stare when they look into the camera kind of thing.
Right.
And it's like it's one to be further away, but it's like literally inches from my face.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turn around and I see stairs that go up into just darkness, and it's like, all right, this is not cool. I don't
Not
want to
cool.
be in here
Yeah.
anymore.
No. In my grandmother's basement, there's nothing down there anymore, so it's all empty or whatever. But I used to be down there quite often, and it's always strange. It depends on what I'm watching, you know. Like if I'm doing something normal and I feel comfortable, it's fine, you know. But like when you start watching something scary, and you look out into that area because there's no walls now, you know, like, and you just and there's no lights over there, so it's
Yeah.
just dark, and it's like darkness, and then the steps, and then darkness all the way around you.
How did you feel when
Like-
you had that setup where the couch is there, but you can't see behind you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Like when it's all my friends hanging out, it's fine, but like every now and then you start thinking like, I don't know what's in that darkness.
Oh man, I'll
you
go
know?
right upstairs. It's like I'm done.
No,
for the
there
night.
I got into the habit of turning on all the lights every time I was down there. If
Yeah.
I was down there, all the lights were on because I didn't want that feeling. Like but that's not like it's never like something happened. It's always
Yeah.
just the curiosity of or the fear of the unknown
Yeah.
that gets to you.
It's like the abyss, man.
I at my old house back when we lived across the street from the farm, the backyard we had was really huge, but it went significantly downhill, and whenever conditions are right, like fog will congregate in the lower areas,
Yeah.
Oh.
and so
Yeah, I've seen that.
yeah, and so the dip started at the very end of our backyard, like so on the foggy nights, like our backyard would descend into
To the
fog.
fog, yeah.
You know, like I can see what's a couple of yards from the house, and then it gets thicker and thicker and thicker until like the fence, and I can't see anything past that. You know, it was just perfect. And I would look out that window and just stare into this fog or mist or whatever, and
Yeah.
not be able to see past that fence and be like,
Something's
Something
over
just
there. man.
stands up like.
Something just walks through it.
yeah, like mm-mm. And then it's the same freaky feeling like being in a cornfield
Yeah.
and you can't see over your head. you know, and you're just like walking around and you have no idea. You can get lost. You have no idea which way is
you
what.
hear like,
You know, oh man.
it's just a bird flying through the
You know,
cornfield or something.
that's terrifying.
Yeah,
That's
man,
terrifying.
And then you don't even know which way is out. You just
Right.
gotta keep running in
exactly.
a direction
Like,
and hope.
I
it's
never
not
liked
further.
going in there for that specific reason. Like, nope.
And just hope it's not further into the cornfield. Like
Yeah.
that's just.
I wouldn't do it, man. I wouldn't do. I never really went in there when that corn was that high, because I heard of the Children of the Corn. Never saw the movie. Don't need to see the movie.
It gotta be like it's just
Scary.
gotta be real life stuff. Like a homeless dude, you know, just.
Well, we lived across the street from a farm, so.
And a farm animal that could like feel like he got big for his britches one
there
day.
was corn. They didn't have like animals. They just grew corn.
Okay.
It wasn't even like human.
Yeah, and then the corns.
I lived in between.
The corn had faces, and it's
no,
like they were the children that
it was
used to be in the
animal feed
neighborhood
corn, so
that
it was
aren't
like,
in the neighborhood
it was
anymore.
like corn that wasn't yellow. It was like orange.
That corn was
black
like
and
super
something.
high too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I remember a cornfield like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's all different types of corn or whatever.
But luckily for me, like there was trees. Now, you've been in a cornfield near where well, it's no longer a cornfield anymore. Like it's all neighborhood now.
Right.
So but when it was cornfield, like you could see, even though all the corn's really high, you could see the trees where you could keep your path properly. So it was a lot easier.
with where I was, you couldn't do that. Like there were trees in the distance, so you could maybe like. But I was younger at the time, so I couldn't see high enough to see the line of the trees from the thing. So I just didn't go in there. Other than that,
I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of the ocean.
well, those are just fears.
Okay,
like,
well, we're fears.
we're
It's
talking
a
about-
Halloween
we're talking
episode.
about supernatural fears.
Well, I'm just talking about.
But I haven't really had. I'm not really super sensitive to that kind of stuff. I haven't really had too many experiences. Mostly it's just those feelings.
I mean, you can always go ghost hunting, right?
Sure, I'm down for that. We tried to go ghost hunting one time, in this forest, where we were walking around the like a park at night or whatever, and we did see some lights, but like honestly, they could have just been houses. You know, like it was inconclusive at the time.
That's the point of like ghost hunting. It's like you go through, you have to be able to debunk what's potentially there.
Didn't
if you
you
can't
go to one
debunk
place
it,
where
then-
you like where like a war happened or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember you said
Nothing.
that's off
Nothing.
the street,
Yeah,
though.
nothing really like happened. It was just weird. Like people died here. You know, like this was a place where a battle was fought and people died. Like right here. You know, like that's what was weird about that place. But nothing happened.
Oh, okay.
You know,
like
like, it
I
wasn't-
just remember you mentioned it before.
Yeah, no, it was definitely creepy, but nothing supernatural happened
It's
there.
like an eerie quietness, and you can't.
Yeah, well, that and the homeless dude that lived there, like, but
I'm not homeless. I'm just dead.
That's what was really scary, is the fact that like we were there and we had no idea if that homeless dude was gonna come back or not, and we like remember the bag.
What?
We found this bag that had weird electronic stuff in it, and I was like Jeff.
Where was this?
It was when we went to go take pictures, and there was a bag, and I was like, in that bag is either money or a head, and we are going to figure out what kind of adventure we are on today.
Yeah,
because it's either going to be the coming of age story where we find this money and we have to figure out what to do with it, or it's going to be a head and it's a horror story and we have to get out of here alive. Like, so I took it and it was like an old TV or something like that. I was like, oh well, we got the non-option.
About a
didn't we?
railroad,
yeah.
But did you smash the TV screen
No, it was
and
already-
inside
no,
the
no,
TV
no.
screen?
No, it was already smashed.
Oh, okay.
It was a TV someone tried to repair or something like that.
I used some
Really
of
old
the
TV.
pictures from there for my school project too.
Yeah, that was a good adventure.
Yeah, it was.
It was cool. You should go. There's like lots of cool graffiti there, and it's just interesting.
Oh,
like
that's a ton of graffiti over there.
yeah, like it was a really good field trip. Like
I'm starting to think we're not alone in these woods out here, man.
They
You laugh, but
Start going, right?
yeah, it's about
Yeah.
time to start getting out here. I think I hear some footsteps.
All right.
Shit, man. Let's put the fire out.
Make sure we stick together. All right. I'll see you guys next week.
If we're still alive.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
See ya.
We're signing off.